Hello, friends. Andrew Marvell's great poem, Thoughts in a Garden, popularly known as The Garden, we have already done much of it. It begins with Andrew Marvell's admiration of the place, which is the garden. A place where quiet and innocence abide, a place which has lovely green, soothing the body and the heart and the soul as well. A place where there is fulfillment from the big trees which drop down their fruits, from the vines which reach out their fruits directly to the mouth, from the shrubs where fruits can be reached out for on the earth where there are yet fruits growing, and if at all one stumbles, then one falls comfortably in the lap of the grass. So, this garden, which is not only a place of quiet, a place of innocence, but is also the paradise of fulfillment. Because of its lovely, colorful kaleidoscope and all besmeared with the green. Now we continue. Such was that happy garden state, while man there walked without a mate. It is here in the last but one stanza, that means the second last stanza, that Andrew Marvell really gives more meaning to the title, The Garden. He is in a garden. He is in a garden where everything is green and everything is full of flowers and there are fruits as well. And he compares it. He says that such was that happy garden state. So, according to the Christian belief, God, when he was having an idea that Lucifer is becoming disloyal to him, God created the earth. And on the earth, he created his loved one, Adam, the man. And he placed him in the garden. That was the Garden of Eden. So that biblical story has been referred to here in these lines, and Andrew Marvell says that when I am in this garden, I am reminded of that happy garden state, the state when Adam was in the garden, the firstborn, the person who was created in the image of God. So I am reminded of that happiness which Adam must have felt, because he was in the garden, and also because man there walked without a mate and he was all alone. Eve is, it is said, was created from the shadow of man's arm. So when man felt that he was alone, he was tempted to have a companion, but prior to that, he was actually very happy because uh, the book, some people believe that it was Eve who tempted man to taste the forbidden fruit at the behest of the wicked Lucifer who came into that garden. So, Andrew Marvell is saying that man was really happy before there was no mate with him. After a place so pure and sweet, and this garden is created after a place which was actually pure and sweet. So, the garden created by God initially, the same spirit of happiness dwells in every garden. What other help could yet be meet? And he says, when it is like the recreation of the God's choicest place in the garden, nothing else is needed, neither a mate nor even the heavens. But it was beyond a mortal's share to wander solitary there. And he said that it was actually beyond the mortal's share. Share means his luck. So, God did not create man alone, he also created for his company Eve. Whereas here in this garden, man has the choice that he can wander solitary here. Two paradises it were in one, to live in paradise alone. So it was a double paradise. He uses a paradox and says to live in that Garden of Eden, it was like living in two paradises, having two paradises. One paradise was that there was every fulfillment over there, and second paradise was that there was an innocent companion there. Now he comes back to the earth and speaks about this garden where he is sitting, how well the skillful gardener drew of flowers and herbs this dial knew. He now compares, this is a conceit, he now compares the garden with the sundial. Sundial is an ancient device when people did not have the watches and the clocks. They used to fix a nail on earth where the sun rays would move the reflection. With the movement of earth around the sun, the reflection of this nail would move around and give the idea of the passage of time. So he says that in a garden there is a beautiful sundial, the dial made of flowers and herbs. Because in this garden, when the light reflects and it moves around, when the sun rises, it is the top part that takes the light first. And when I told you about that, the apples and then the vines and then the nectarines and the hazel, and then there were melons, and then there was the grass. So this arch, the same kind of light clock construction is there, made from flowers and herbs, where from above the milder sun does through a fragrant zodiac run. So the sun could be running on the sky but without fragrance. Whereas when the sun moves in a garden, It is not only indicative of time, but it also it also experiences the beautiful fragrances that emerge from a garden. And as it works, so while the sun is working hard to touch the various parts of the various um, plants in the garden, while the sun is working, even the industrious bee, the hard working bee, because there are so many flowers and there are so many fruits, all worked out by the bee. So he says that the hard working bee is also computing its time as well as we. Bees are busy only during the day. In the evening, they go back. So now it is a reminder for the poet to go back. The sun is about to set. The sundial has given its indication that it is evening now. So it is like the poet having stayed there in this state of complete quiet, complete innocence, and complete admiration about the fulfillment which a garden gives. He says, now that the bees are going, it is the time has been computed also for us. How could such sweet and wholesome hours be reckoned but with herbs and flowers? The poet Andrew Marvell ends his poem with the most profound admiration of the garden, and he says, there is no place where we can get more sweet and more wholesome hours except when one is sitting with the herbs and flowers in a garden. So, this poem, Thoughts in a Garden, or popularly known as The Garden, is about the description of the beauty of a garden made parallel with the beauty of the garden of heaven. So the gardens on earth are compared to the gardens of heaven. Only that a man comes to realize his worth and comes to realize that God has created everything beautiful, everything fulfilling only in a garden. The fusion of the last two words, the last line is about herbs and flowers. Herbs are those very small plants which have medicinal values, and flowers are those living things that induce into us the sense of happiness, the sense of admiration for God. So the garden is something where you will find quiet, you will find innocence, you will find fulfillment, you will find herbs, that is treatment of all maladies, bodily maladies and soul maladies, and flowers which give us a refreshing thought. And this poem is the likening the earthly gardens with the garden in heaven. That is all for today, and with this we end this poem, which began in admiration and ends in admiration for the beautiful places, for the most comforting places, just as they were in the heaven, so also are they on earth, This admiration begins the poem and seals the poem. Thank you.